So I alluded to this the last video about the All-Star ballot. I kind of left it a secret for a reason, and I made a video about this in the with about the NFL, I should say, and it kind of got a lot of views on it, and I was expecting a little bit more of some comments and different kind of stuff, and I saw someone did comment and asked to do about the NBA, and I kind of touched on it last week, but I didn't really know what they wanted to do with that, so I'm going to finish out. This is the NBA rigged? And obviously that's more of a controversial thing, and it kind of really starts, speaking of All-Star, with that being voted now, or not voted, but selected now. People start talking, oh, it's just a popularity contest and all this stuff. And it is. It's a huge popularity contest because you leave it out to the fans to elect the top 5 starters, and then you get the coaches and players to vote on the next fill out the bench, the next 7, I guess. And everyone that says it's a popularity contest, it really is. And same with the dunk contest and 3-point and the rising, well, not the rising stars, but all the other contests during this week, and every other All-Star game is the exact same way. You got the MLB get guys that are hitting, like, I can't remember who it was now, but it was like some guy was hitting 200 and he was about to be selected the top AL second baseman from the Royals. But that's kind of where I wanted to start this one. That's why I chose to talk about this one now, because I knew the roster would be announced this past week and all that. So with that, I mean, as I think about it, there's usually the same 12 guys elected every year, and like I mentioned it when I talked about the East, how it's the same 3 guys every year. You got Melo, you got LeBron, and you got Dwayne Wade, no matter how good or bad they're playing. And I mean, they're still really good, and it's more of a sign of respect to them, but they're not really playing at the elite level like they have been in the past. I mean, same with Kobe, too. I mentioned it. I straight up said it. I was like, this is more of a he's retiring thing, and this is his last year. They're going to put him out, make him go out with style, be an all-star, be all that stuff. And that's not really a bad thing. Make him an all-star, as long as he doesn't get like the true MVP or the true offensive of the year or whatever those, like, doesn't get a real award outside of maybe the MVP of the All-Star Game award. But if he shoots like he is in the regular season, he has nothing to worry about. He's not going to get it anyways. But if I go back to the rigged part, if you really think about it, people are saying, oh, the NBA is going to the three-pointer, they're going to this and all that stuff. The three-pointer has only been around for, I think, like 40 years or something like that. I'm not too keen on my NBA history of rules and such, but why now? Why are we going just now to move away from the big thing about, like, why are we moving away from big men, and why are we moving away from power forwards and all that stuff, like feeding it to the post kind of thing? Why are we now going to the three-point line and shooting three-pointers and stuff? And that made me start thinking, like, obviously we got the call of fouls, and like more fouls are called a game, and I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit. But you also have the refs like Tim Donahue, I don't know how to say it, and that are saying like, oh yeah, I called fouls to get the thing up, to get the over-under up or down or whatever you want to, whatever he did. He's openly admitting he cheated to the game to make the game appease him for his gambling, and it's not really met with any backlash at the moment. Maybe back then when if I first admitted it, he did, but I wasn't really big into NBA then. And I mean, that's always a big thing, and I want to talk about I'm going to leave that there just because, like, that's the first part of it being rigged. You got to have someone on the inside rigging it. But like the Warriors, where did they come from? They came from a bunch of. They're a great story. You got Draymond Green. You got Harrison Barnes, you got Curry, Thompson, Bogut, all those guys that are drafted in their system, drafted by their team, all that, like basically homegrown talent. Not really homegrown, but kept in their house, brought in by their draft, all that stuff. And I think they only had 2 or 3 outside help, like getting trades or something. Like they got Iguodala, and they may have got a couple of pieces like Brandon Rush or Glenn Davis. I don't know. They don't have Glenn Davis. But anyways, how does this team that's got a great story, got all that great story stuff, and then going up against the powerhouse of LeBron, who's been there for 5 years, then the Warriors win it? Obviously, they outplayed them, but was there someone saying, "Hey, LeBron's going to put up 40. JR got to miss a lot. You got to have these Warriors win it, usher in the new millennium kind of thing." And this is a little bit harder with the NBA because it's obviously if you're good like Curry, he can hit a shot from about anywhere on the floor. It seems like, at least, and then there's like, if you compare Curry to the NFL, I guess the closest thing I'm trying to think of, like, it'd be like a revolutionary type of quarterback guy. So I really hate saying this, but he's more of an RG3 or Kaepernick kind of he kind of compares to RG3 and Kaepernick because they're supposed to be these revolutionary running dual threat quarter. Cam Newton, that's the best comparison right there. They're these running quarterback, revolutionary NBA player doing something that's not really expected to be done a lot, where he's shooting 9 threes a game or whatever. And then you got Cam Newton, who's revolutionary and running a bunch and has a huge arm too, not just a pocket passer kind of thing. But that's kind of hard to compare those two because in the NFL you can be like, "Hey Cam Newton," or "Hey Cam, overthrow your guy. Make sure he doesn't catch. Make sure these balls aren't catchable. Don't look like your normal self, but make it look close. And then throw like 3 picks or whatever." And then in the NBA you could be like, "Hey Steph, miss these shots," but a lot of it's more of luck with the NBA because like he could be like, because you got to make it look right. And if you got the right shot and you're just missing the shot, that's harder to do. Like missing on purpose is harder to do than overthrowing a target on purpose. And like obviously making it look real. Obviously, like you could miss by just throwing it hard at the backboard kind of thing. But making it look like an actual real shot compared to overthrowing your guy is a lot harder to do as shooting the shot. And so that's where I think that the NBA is not as rigged as the NFL, if you can say it's rigged. I mean, yeah, these guys get tired and all that, but I don't really see like coaches being like, "Hey, say for example the Thunder, "Hey, Durant, Russell, you're coming off the court. Coach, we're down by 10. I don't care, you guys are coming off the court. We only got like a minute left to score." Nah. Or we're down by 4. Durant, Westbrook coming off the floor. Whereas in like the NFL, you can say a guy went down with a knee injury and put in his the backup and stuff. In my honest opinion, I don't think any sports are rigged. The NBA is just a lot harder to do it because there's a certain amount of luck involved. I mean, defensively, you can be like, "Hey Kyrie, you're gonna get a bunch of steals off Curry today, make him look bad, make this game go 6, or make this say they're in the finals, be like, "Hey, make this series go 6, and we'll give you a certain amount of money," kind of thing. But it's just not as easy in the NBA, in my opinion, as I'm thinking about it, as the NFL would be. So, as I hope that neither of these are rigged, it kind of makes more sense with the NFL because you got the storylines throughout their offseason, you got how easy it is to throw a game kind of thing. Whereas the NBA, they don't really control anything yet. They got no real major market. Where the NFL's this They bring in like $100 billion a year kind of market. They bring in it's probably a lot more than that, but they bring in a bunch of money, and then the NBA is like, yeah, we make about half that, maybe a quarter. I don't even know. I don't know what the revenues are, and it's harder to do, but I still think that if any sports league is, it's the NFL because it's easier. But the NBA it's possible with the NBA just because of how polarizing the players are. I mean, I've heard it from a bunch of guys that like, hey, let's go and be like Steph Curry and shoot some threes and all this stuff. You can make people think about Steph Curry and try and be like Steph Curry, emulate him, make jersey sales. And like, it's a lot of these really, it's more of hype, I guess, than rigging, where they're like take LeBron for instance. He was coming out of high school, he was next MJ, all this stuff, and then he was the like alpha dog, top prospect, top everything, best player in the world kind of stuff. And then you got Steph Curry, who was like I don't even think he was like a 3 or 4 star coming out of high school, and then he's like the underdog, undervalued, small guy. It's just kind of they're trying to force people toward gravitating, try and draw people in. That's what I'm trying to get at, and they're doing a good job of it because I think a lot of people can relate more to the new I guess era of Steph Curry, Thompson, John Wall, Bradley Beal, all that stuff, and I think that's more of what they're doing than being rigged. But you never know. I could be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they were rigged. But I guess it's a lot. It's just really your opinion. Do you think that? How do you think? What do you think of the storyline? Is it fabricated like a movie script, or do you think it's something that's actually real and just kind of fell into place kind of thing? Or did someone say, hey, we want generated our sales? And that's kind of the extent of the rigging. I think it's not really, they're not like selling games where the Warriors are going to go. They're not. I mean, it's also a great story. The Warriors won 27 in a row, but as I discussed previously, they haven't really played anyone. So I don't know. I kind of want to know what you guys think. I don't believe the NBA is rigged. I think it's more of a storyline thing, like I said, with kind of trying to make it relatable to people while the NBA or NFL is fading out. So I guess we'll see in the upcoming years what's going to happen and if they ever like expose themselves too far unintentionally. It's going to be really interesting to follow this, and I might do a little follow up in the future. We'll see.